We're here today with Joe Barnes, the instructor for IMC 619, Emerging Media and the Market. Welcome, Joe.
Well, thank you, Chad. It's good to be here.
Looking forward to learning a little bit more about you and about the course. To kick us off, if you could, just tell us about your career history and background, especially as it relates to your teaching of the IMC 619 Emerging Media and the Market course for the WVU IMC program.
Happy to. I spent about 20 years in journalism, running local TV newsrooms in Buffalo, Detroit, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and then Seattle. And along the way, I started being an adjunct. But after I left news, I became director of strategic communications, a cabinet position at Washington State University. And then I returned back to Seattle to become vice president of marketing at Pacific Science Center. And then I became chief marketing and development officer for Girl Scouts of Western Washington. Along the way, I fell in love with teaching completely and left the corporate world, both for-profit and nonprofit. And I've been teaching ever since, and I absolutely love it.
Great. So Joe, how do you define emerging media?
You know, I think emerging media is related to the new technologies. Almost every week or every month, we see new technologies, but it relates also to digital transformation. And so what I describe as emerging media can be everything from conversational marketing, using bots, the Internet of Things, RFIDs, iBeacons, streaming, 5G mobile, wearables, AR, VR, MR, 360-degree video, drones in 3D. And we also cover the new privacy requirements too.
Great. So go a little deeper in why you think this course is relevant to the study of integrated marketing communications. Why do students in this program really need this course?
Well, I think this is a very important course to help you better understand the technologies that are happening and how they're affecting consumer behavior. Even before the pandemic, we were seeing considerable change based on these emerging technologies. And certainly over the last year plus, due to the pandemic, we've seen more consumer reliance on many of these. So the course isn't about social media, it's about emerging media and those technologies that are affecting consumer behavior.
Great. So Joe, you've taught for the WVU IMC program since fall of 2012, including 37 sections of the IMC 619 course in that time and counting. How has IMC 619 Emerging Media in the Market, how has the course changed over the past 10 years?
It's changed considerably. And every time we get ready to launch the course, I work to update everything in the modules because so much is changing. So if we go back to 2012, we're not in the same world we were in there at that time. And I think with emerging media, the reason the course has to be updated every time we teach it is because everything is happening that's new every single day, every week, every month. And whether a technology has been out there, say 5G or mobile apps or messaging, there's always something has changed. And what I'm trying to do is to help the students be aware of those changes and how to leverage those changes in the world of marketing.
So thinking about the current version of the course, what do you think are the top 3 things that students will learn that they'll be able to take into their careers immediately?
I think understanding how the technologies are affecting the consumer experience. I think secondly, learning a variety of technologies I think is important so that you can be able to mix traditional marketing with emerging media. And, even in today's world, if we do iBeacons and RFIDs and, voice assistants and bots, 6 months ago, it has to be changed every time we do the course because there's something new.
So when students are planning for upcoming courses, they often ask about the workload intensity of a course so that they can really prepare and balance their graduate studies with all of life's other responsibilities. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the least intense and 5 being the most intense, how would you rate IMC 619 emerging media in the market? And what made you give it that intensity rating?
I think I would give it a 4. And I think that I call on the students to be active in the class discussion boards all days of the week. You know, start it with Monday. Don't wait till Wednesday. Because what I try to do is I try to respond to every single post. And so I want to do that Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So I think, you know, how it's affecting the consumer experience. I think understanding what the new technologies are and how to leverage them. And then I think we cover areas in privacy as it relates to the emerging media, everything from GDPR to the California Privacy Act to deep fakes to fake corporate social media posts, and how to create a social and digital media policy.
So specifically, what does a student that's taking IMC 619 need to do in order to be successful?
Well, first they need to do the readings. And I just saw an evaluation that talked about the value of the readings. To also actively participate in the class discussion. And that starts on Monday or Tuesday instead of bumping up. Also, I ask students not to do all of their discussion follow-ups during the last 2 hours of class on Friday nights, because I tell them you have good things to share with your classmates. So give them time to read and react to those comments. And then I think the papers are very important, and we have several papers during the class. And it allows me to also be able to see, are they learning the content that we're talking about in the reading and in the class discussion.
So tell me about one of the assignments. Which one is your favorite? You know, is there an assignment that you look forward to grading and seeing what the students come up with?
Well, I'll answer it in 2 ways. Sometimes a class discussion and a paper, you know, certainly do in the same week, but I tell students you can't keep reusing the same business. Once you identify a business example, okay, you've done it. Now you have to go on to another one. And part of that is because, you know, as we know, whether you're in the world of marketing or as you rise up in a business as the business leader, you want to be fully prepared to be able to address all of these issues. And so I challenge students, you know, I'll give them a question right after their discussion post to help increase the level of critical thinking. And the other thing that I stress with the class is that word analyze. And I help define it in an initial announcement in the course and help them understand what analysis is versus just discovering and sharing.
What is your personal teaching style? And really what I'd like you to sort of reflect on is, how do you meaningfully engage students in your courses?
Well, I think first of all, by being in the course every day, I think that sets the bar of where I'm at, responding to all of their posts and giving them detailed feedback. Same thing with their papers, giving them detailed feedback. My approach is really to be, you know, very responsive. If they contact me with an email, I tell them, text me if you have a question. But also I try to share with them how much I care about them, the students and their success. And that's why I do this. I was fortunately called by an Amazon recruiter about 2 or 3 years ago. And I stopped the recruiter and I said, you know, I have the best job in the world teaching. And thank you very much for calling me, but I don't want to leave this job. I love it. And I really try to share with my students how much I care about them and their future.
So what do you think defines you as an instructor? Is there one thing that you think just is what your definition of an instructor is?
I think I just mentioned it in part, and that is that I care. I genuinely care. I tell the students I want to connect with you on LinkedIn. I will stay with you long after your course because I care. And so that way, if you need a recommendation, if you need contacts about job searching, we're connected on LinkedIn. And that way I can demonstrate how much I care.
It also gives you a really good way of seeing where they end up over the years. So
it does.
Do you have a couple of examples? Obviously, leaving out the names, but just of where your past students have gone, and some of the things that maybe they've kept in touch that you feel especially proud of. Because I know we all have our students that just go on to do amazing things. And
I have had some students that have gone into the niche of medical marketing, both with large health systems or large hospital complexes. And, that's where new technology is being used all the time in terms of, brain surgery and other aspects. And I've had students write back saying, I didn't realize, first of all, they didn't have a social media policy. And I told them I can create one for you. And secondly, I've heard from students that because of the breadth of areas that we cover, it really made them smarter going into the health and medical industry.
Great. So what has been your favorite aspect of teaching in WVU's online marketing communications programs over the years?
I think when I talk to the students by phone, it's fairly common for me to do a number of phone calls during the course. And usually they're like, who's this? Shocked a little. And I tell them, yeah, it's me. I see you as a business leader now. And I want to connect with you, not just through papers or class discussions. Let's set up FaceTime. Let's set up Zoom, or let's do just a phone call. So that we can get to know each other. And I genuinely want to know about each student so I can decide how to help them.
Great. So any last thoughts or bits of advice for students considering taking 619, or anything that I didn't ask that you'd like to share?
I appreciate the interview, and I consider it a real privilege to teach IMC 619. I am fortunate to be able to do that. And as you said, since 2012, I hadn't even recognized how long it's been, but I care. And I think that really comes through to the students.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate your time and your insight in the course.
Thank you, Chad.